Stephen Erlanger is the chief diplomatic correspondent for the New York Times and joins us from Berlin. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
So let's start with the optics of this latest Trump-Zelensky meeting, one-on-one in St. Peter's Basilica with no aides in earshot. This is a far cry from the showdown we saw in the Oval Office, right?
Well, it is, and it was nicely set up by the PR people. Beautiful photograph, peace on earth, Pope funeral. It's crucial with Trump who speaks to him last. He seems to flip-flop back and forth. He is getting very frustrated. His sudden understanding that Vladimir Putin may not want the war to end is a kind of hello there, because this has been quite clear for quite a long time. Now, it may change a little bit because this is public diplomacy as well as a private one. Now that Russia has announced it has taken back all of its sovereign territory in the Kursk region, that announcement was made yesterday. It was pretty clear Putin would never agree to a ceasefire while Ukrainian troops were on Russian soil. He has obviously no problem with Russian troops on Ukrainian soil. So maybe this will bring about a change. It's very hard to know. Steve Witkoff saw Putin just the day before on Friday, and obviously came away with nothing that made President Trump very happy.
Yeah. And Stephen, of course, in recent months, Trump has looked to be more aligned with Russia. As he departed Rome, he posted online that maybe Putin doesn't want to end the war, wondering whether Putin was stringing him along. What does this post tell you? Did Trump misread Vladimir Putin?
Oh, I think he's been misreading him for the last decade. But yes, I think he has been misreading him. Vladimir Putin has his own national interests. The thing about the ceasefire is, in a way, Trump wants it desperately. He's coming on 100 days. Putin has no real interest in a ceasefire. He thinks he's actually winning the war. And Zelensky wants to please Trump because really American aid and intelligence and air defense matter to him. But, in the end, neither side's really ready. If Putin keeps saying he has other conditions, well, his other conditions are pretty dramatic. What the Europeans with the Ukrainians have presented as a counter proposal, I think, is fairer to Ukraine. It's more Ukraine's point of view, but it's very hard for me to think Putin will accept that. I think that's what happened in Moscow with Steve Witkoff. So there's talking yet to come, but the war doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, much to Mr. Trump's frustration.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Trump has said that he believes Crimea, which was taken by Russia in 2014, should be recognized officially as Russian territory. You point out in the New York Times that that idea is unacceptable even to Russia's ally, China. Just to describe for us, how does the US proposal for a resolution differ to Europe's?
Well, it keeps changing, of course. The first framework from the Americans, which was designed to be a talking paper, but then J.D. Vance talked about it almost as an ultimatum, but it clearly isn't. That produced the counterproposal. The difference from the Ukrainian side is it agrees to a territorial compromise, but not by law. Um, Even the Americans don't insist that Ukraine recognize Russian sovereignty over Crimea. But for America to do it, it would break with 50, 60 years of the principle that international borders should not be changed by force. That is something that's in the UN Charter, by the way, and something everyone agreed to in the Helsinki Accords. So that's one big difference. The other big difference is Ukraine will not accept any restrictions on the size of its military or the kind of military aid that it could get. Russia wants to reduce that. And the Ukrainian counterproposal proposes a European and non-European peacekeeping reassurance force inside Ukraine after a settlement. So far, the Russians have said that's a non-starter. There are a few other minor things. The most interesting thing to me, in a way, is Zaporizhia, which is this big nuclear power plant, very dangerous. The Russians have it, but it's very vulnerable. And the proposal so far is that the Americans would administer it. It would be somehow neutral territory, and power would be shared somehow between Ukraine and Russia. So it's a negotiation. It's not finished. I don't think Trump wants it to be finished. I don't think he wants to walk away, but you never can tell with President Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Certainly a lot to work through. Still, Stephen Erlanger, thanks so much for joining us from the New York Times.
Thank you.